Greetings, metalheads, and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, back once again with another Bands You Need to Hear recommendation. Another band, if you haven't come across this one yet, you seriously need to check them out. So, today's band you need to hear have existed since 2017. They are hailing from Illinois, USA, and they are very much a robust old school death metal band, giving it a modern twist. We are talking about Moulder, the excellent Moulder. So, Moulder have been around for a few years now, and they have a very, very impressive rate of releases. They've actually got 3 full-length studio albums, this being the debut released in 2020. This is Vanished Cadavers. Great album, great debut. We then have 2 other albums subsequently released. We've got from 2022, we've got Engrossed in Decay, which I have to say has a marvellous album cover. That is intricately gore-filled. Brilliant album though. And we've also got the fantastic 2024 and most recent studio album, Catastrophic Reconfiguration. Recently talked about this one on a collection update, and again, marvelously disgusting album cover there. Brilliant stuff. And I say they're an old school style death metal band. They are, very much so. There is no denying there is clearly a big influence of the old gods, bands like Obituary, Asphyx, 100%, and that is very, very evident in vocalist Aaron Pantke, not quite sure on the pronunciation there. There's a very strong Martin Van Drunen vibe in his vocals. A good vocalist though, that's not a bad thing. A little bit of Martin worship is not a bad thing in my opinion, but there's also a bit of a John Tardy kind of vibe in there as well. So definitely in the vein of good old Asphyx, Obituary, as I say. Bit of Carcass in there. I'm thinking necroticism, heartwork, that kind of era. But there's also a bit of a modern twist. You know, modern sound production, all that business. It sounds more up to date. If you enjoy bands like Necrot, if you enjoy a bit more slightly earlier Tomb Mold, same with Blood Incantation, and definitely Celestial Sanctuary. And also Phobophilic, talked about them recently. If you're digging that kind of stuff, Moulder, yeah, you need to check them out. They're a band you absolutely need to hear. So this one's a funny band because I have all of their albums, but all of them I only have on tape. So the reason for that being is that it seemed to be the only format I could readily get a hold of. So I got the first 2 albums. In fact, I think I might have gotten all 3 from the Hell's Headbangers web store, although they are all released through Headsplit Records. You can see on the inside there. Headsplit have done a good job here, very good job. They're really nice cassette packages. But I got them through the Hell's Headbangers web store. So if you are looking to pick up the tape copy, I think you can get them direct. You can also get them from Hell's Headbangers. Anyway, back to Moulder. They're a really strong death metal band. I'm loving it because it has got that kind of murky, dirgy Death Doom vibe at times. Hence the reference to Obituary, Asphyx, Incantation even. But it's also got that kind of upper tempo. You can headbang along to it. You can easily kind of grab a beer and chug along to it. It's great stuff. I'll start with the debut, Vanished Cadavers. Very strong Asphyx vibes on this one, but we've got basically just 10 original tracks plus track 11 there being Serenade and Led by Asphyx cover. We've got 10 brilliant, reliable, enjoyable, old school death metal tracks. You know, it's nothing groundbreaking, it's not reinventing the wheel, but just like Phobophilic was talking about recently, what they do really well. It's enjoyable stuff. It doesn't sound like copycat. You can tell the influences are there. Hey, unsurprising, but it's really solid stuff. We also got the nice purple tape shell here. Very cool indeed. But particular standout tracks, do like the opening couple of salvos there. We've got Granulated Chunks, nice. Sweet Taste of Death, rather. Vanished Cadavers. God's Critters, entertaining. Blood Sugar, right the way through. Just a really solid album. So I definitely recommend starting with the debut. Very solid stuff. Next album, Engrossed in Decay, is a little bit more, I'd say a little bit more original. Maybe the influences, although still definitely there, this starts to have a little bit more of a different kind of flair to it. A bit more of maybe their own sound and style going on here. Really strong though, so, I'm going to say much stronger than the debut. The debu's still really good, but this is a really good album. Glutinous Remains is killer. Title track's brilliant. Chemically Dissolved, love it. You got the full gore vibes going on here. Huff the Stench is a brilliant track. One of the album highlights, definitely. Absolutely love it. Ghastly Mutation, Decomposed Embryos, Cask of Maggots, solid stuff. Not a dull moment, guaranteed to get your head banging. If you're looking for some dirty, putrid death metal, the murky way, you're going to enjoy this, definitely. I should also say, solid lineup as well. For all of these albums, the musicianship is really good. I really do like Aaron's vocals. I know there's a strong Martin nod there, a little bit of a John Tardy nod there as well, but it really works. At this stage, doing vocals and guitars alongside Dominic Vaya, not sure, on bass, and Kyle Pooley drums as well. So there's our lineup. And nice greenish shell there. Very cool. Have to say, this sort of death metal really does work particularly well in this nice analog tape format, definitely. And then we are up to date with the most recent album. This is a fantastic album. I'm really, really thoroughly enjoying this one. Catastrophic Reconfiguration is probably the strongest to date. So they've developed, they've clearly progressed, you know, but they've stayed true. You know, they're not trying anything drastically different here at all. Still got Kyle, Dominic, and Aaron, but by this stage we've also got Carlos Santini on lead guitars as well. The riffs on this album are really good, I will say. They're notable, really enjoyable, memorable. You know, the tracks are distinguishable from one another, but there's such a good flow. You know, the album has a good flow, but it's not just samey and uninteresting at all. Brilliant title track. Pulped is brilliant. Frothing is fantastic. Burst Innards is great. Oh, it's disgusting, but it's brilliant. Corpse Copulation is a bit of a highlight, as is Brain Boil. Nothing Left to Ooze as well. You know, it's gross. This isn't the sort of stuff you're going to play in church or play to your grandmother, but it's solid. It's solid death metal. If you're looking for something nasty, but also a bit fun, then Moulder, absolutely a band you need to hear. Really solid musicians, great vocals, good albums. These are all really good albums. There's definitely a progression, you know, second album was brilliant, third album's even better. Hey, testament to Moulder that they're able to develop so rapidly. But outside of the 3 studio albums, from doing a little bit of research, there seems to be a whole host of other releases, demos, comps, live albums even. So there's plenty of other stuff if you can track it down. Haven't seen any physicals of those available, but hey, maybe if you catch them on the road or do a little bit of YouTube delving, you might find some other tracks and releases to enjoy. But even with just these 3 albums, there's plenty to enjoy here. Really solid stuff. Vanished Cadavers, definitely start with that first album. Really solid stuff. Love it. We got Engrossed in Decay, second album. really strong there. And of course, most recently, Catastrophic Reconfiguration. Decent. I know they're currently, or they will soon, be embarking on a UK and European tour. I was really hoping to be able to catch them on that, but sadly I think I'm going to miss out on this occasion. It is a shame, but if you get a chance to catch this band, I'm sure they're well worth it live. But definitely make the effort to check out these albums. They're really, really solid. As I say, if you like Obituary, Carcass, Asphyx, Celestial Sanctuary, you're going to dig Moulder. They're a really, really solid band. I would say these albums, this band, some of the best death metal I've heard in a little while. They're right up there. They're doing well for themselves. Freaking good band. A band you need to hear. So, my friends, are you a Moulder fan already? If you're not, you need to check them out and let me know what you think. But they're worth it. Thank you very much for watching, my friends. Hope you've enjoyed this humble recommendation review. Do feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Support is very much appreciated, as always. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good, heavy things. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, listen to Moulder and stay freaking heavy.